drove through the darkness. The effect was almost hypnotic. "This is the only country in the world," said Wednesday into the stillness, "that worries about what it is." What? The rest of them know what they are. No one ever needs to go searching for the heart of Norway or looks for the soul of Mozambique. They know what they are. And, just thinking out loud, "So you've been to lots of other countries then?" Wednesday said nothing. Shadow glanced at him. "No," said Wednesday with a sigh. "No, I never have." They stopped for gas, and Wednesday went into the restroom in his security guard jacket and his suitcase and came out in a crisp, pale suit, brown shoes, and a knee-length brown coat that looked like it might be Italian. "So, when we get to Madison, what then?" "Take Highway 14 west to Spring Green. We'll be meeting everyone at a place called the House on the Rock. You been there?" "No," said Shadow, "but I've seen the signs." The signs for the House on the Rock were all around that part of the world. Oblique, ambiguous signs all across Illinois and Minnesota and Wisconsin, probably as far away as Iowa, Shadow suspected. Signs alerting you to the existence of the House on the Rock. Shadow had seen the signs and wondered about them. Did the house balance perilously upon the rock? What was so interesting about the rock? About the house? He'd given it a passing thought, but then forgotten it. Shadow was not in the habit of visiting roadside attractions. They drove past the Capitol Dome of Madison, another perfect snow globe scene in the falling snow. And then they were off the interstate and driving down country roads. After almost an hour of driving through towns with names like Black Earth, they turned down a narrow driveway past several enormous snow-dusted flower pots entwined with lizard-like dragons. The tree-lined parking lot was almost empty. "They'll be closing soon," said Wednesday. "So what is this place?" asked Shadow, as they walked through the parking lot toward a low, unimpressive wooden building. "This is a roadside attraction," said Wednesday, "one of the finest, which means it is a place of power." "Come again?" "It's perfectly simple," said Wednesday. "In other countries over the years, people recognize the places of power. Sometimes it would be a natural formation. Sometimes it would just be a place that was somehow special. They knew that something important was happening there, that there was some focusing point, some channel, some window to the immanent. And so they build temples or cathedrals or erect stone circles or... well, you get the idea. "There are churches all across the states, though," said Shadow. "In every town, sometimes on every block. And about as significant in this context as dentists' offices." "No, in the USA, people still get the call, or some of them, and they feel themselves being called to from the transcendent void, and they respond to it by building a model out of beer bottles of somewhere they've never visited. Or by erecting a giant bat house in some part of the country that bats have traditionally declined to visit." Roadside attractions. People feel themselves being pulled to places where, in other parts of the world, they recognize that part of themselves that is truly transcendent. And they buy a hot dog and walk around feeling satisfied on a level they cannot truly describe, and profoundly dissatisfied on a level beneath that. "You have some pretty whacked out theories," said Shadow. "Nothing theoretical about it, young man," said Wednesday. "You should have figured that out by now." There was only one ticket window open. "We stopped selling tickets in half an hour," said the girl. "It takes at least 2 hours to walk around, you see." Wednesday paid for their tickets in cash. "Where's the rock?" asked Shadow. "Under the house." "Where's the house?" Wednesday put his finger to his lips and they walked forward. Further in, a player piano was playing something that was intended to have been Ravel's Bolero. The place seemed to be a geometrically reconfigured 1960s bachelor pad, with open stonework, pile carpeting, and magnificently ugly mushroom-shaped stained glass lampshades. Up a winding staircase to another room filled with knickknacks. They say this was built by Frank Lloyd Wright's evil twin, said Wednesday. Frank Lloyd Wrong. Chuckled at his joke. I saw that on a t-shirt, said Shadow. Up and down more stairs, and now they were in a long, long room made of glass that protruded needle-like out over the leafless black and white countryside, hundreds of feet below them. Shadow stood and watched the snow tumble and spin. So this is the house on the rock? He asked, puzzled. More or less. This is the Infinity Room, part of the actual house, although a late edition. But no, my young friend, we have not scratched the tiniest surface of what the house has to offer. So, according to your theory, said Shadow, Walt Disney World would be the holiest place in America. Wednesday frowned and stroked his beard. Walt Disney bought some orange groves in the middle of Florida and built a tourist town on them. No magic there of any kind. Although I think there may be something real in the original Disneyland. There may be some power there, although twisted and hard to access. There's definitely nothing out of the ordinary about Disney World. But some parts of Florida are filled with real magic. You just have to keep your eyes open. Ah, for the mermaids of Wiki Wachi. Follow me this way. Everywhere was the sound of music. Jangling, awkward music, ever so slightly off the beat and out of time. Wednesday took a $5 bill and put it into a change machine, receiving a handful of brass-colored metal coins in return. He tossed one to Shadow, who caught it, and realizing that a small boy was watching him, held it up between forefinger and thumb and vanished it. The small boy ran over to his mother, who was inspecting one of the ubiquitous Santa Clauses. Over 6,000 on display, the sign said. And he tugged urgently at the hem of her coat. Shadow followed Wednesday outside briefly, and then followed the signs to the streets of yesterday. 40 years ago, Alex Jordan, his face is on the token you have palmed in your right hand, Shadow, began to build a house on a high jut of rock in a field he did not own, and even he could not have told you why. And people came to see him build it, the curious and the puzzled, and those who were neither, and those who could not honestly have told you why they came. So he did what any sensible American male of his generation would do. He began to charge them money. Nothing much, a nickel each perhaps, or a quarter, and he kept building and the people kept coming. So he took those quarters and nickels and made something even bigger and stranger. He built these warehouses on the land beneath the house and filled them with things for people to see, and then the people came to see them. Millions of people come here every year.